This podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek. Our friends over at SeatGeek are giving us a promo code of TBA Wrestling. That is TBA Wrestling for $20 off your first purchase. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to Gunners Rust Podcast, where we are positively Arsenal, and that we are. And this is the first official World Cup episode. We are positively England. We are England. This podcast is England. So for all my USA and Welsh particular listeners, very sorry. I know I live in Wales and I know our biggest listenership is in the US. So I do apologise. But we'll be talking about the World Cup in general and like our favourite players and things like that. So it's not going to be just centered around the England games. It could be centered around all the games, and also shout out to all the other countries that listen to Gunners Rust. So I appreciate you so much. And if you're listening to this, please give us a 5-star review. iTunes and Spotify. I need to get it back onto Spotify. Not Spotify. I think it's YouTube Music, I think, is what I need to get it back on. So if you do listen to it on there, as I've been alluded to by Lewis, who's going to come on during the World Cup, I need to make sure that's all done. And there's also the Patreon. So click the link below this video, go through that link, sign up to our Patreon, and you get extra audio every single week, multiples that is, and also puts you into a raffle for a graded Arsenal card every single month. So with that all out the way, today we're actually going to not break down the World Cup. We're going to just kind of look at the World Cup generally because it starts tomorrow. So if anything, it's a preview podcast, but I'm going to do it in a certain way. So we're going to look at some of the matchups this week. We're going to talk about who I think is going to win. We're also going to talk about a few other things. So the list that I've got in front of me is the winner I'm going to come up with, the biggest flop, the dark horse, golden boot, breakout star, best under 23, best over 32, and a random shout for the podcast. For the World Cup on the podcast. That's what I meant. So that's what we'll be doing today. So if you're interested in the World Cup, I hope you're going to enjoy it. As for Arsenal, I think maybe cover it on the Patreon, but our doctor left this week. There's a talk of a new doctor coming in who's a former Portuguese sprinter, I believe. The Julian Alvarez information coming out of Real Madrid is absolutely, I was going to say frightening, but interesting, because one, what he said about the player being someone who plays in the middle and can play up top, he's 100%, because it ended up being Julio Alvarez. So, and I don't know why I keep saying Julio, it's Julian. I have an issue with that for whatever reason. It's like me saying Maitland-Niles instead of Lewis Skelly. That was the player, and the bid was 150 million, which is, I think, an outrageous amount of money for Alvarez. And also they're doing it from their biggest rival in Madrid. I just don't think there was any chance of that happening. It's been rejected. I think they're going to go back with an improved one, I believe, but it just seems mad because obviously I did the transfer guesses this week, and one of the guys I thought we might get was Alvarez, and I wrote down 75 million, so I was half price, like half price Rice. I was half price Alvarez over here. I genuinely thought we might get him for 75 million. I actually thought that's a fair price. I'd like to get it under that, but I thought it was a fair price. So when you think of it that way, it is just baffling, and you do kind of get that feeling that maybe, though, I think Perez is quite friendly with the Atletico owner, even though they're rivals. I wonder if this was just a way to help Atletico build up the amount of money they could get for Alvarez. So I wonder if, because there's teams like Arsenal involved, there's other teams around the world, really, even Barcelona, who are in for Alvarez. I wonder if that was just to boost his price from, like, my kind of area, around 75 to 150, but I don't think they expect to get 150 because that does seem ludicrous. And him calling him a Galactico, he got 8 league goals last year, just seems, I think when I look at world football right now, if I had to pick out Galacticos, maybe as far as Arsenal, you could say Saliba or Declan Rice could be considered that when Jude Bellingham was considered that. I think you look at Elise and Kane. I think Yamal is a Galactico. If he was to go there, I don't think he would, obviously, with Barcelona links. But they're the kind of players, even Vitinha, I'd say at this point. Kvaratskhelia, I think, could be. But I don't think of Julian Alvarez as a Galactico. I think he's a very good football player, but I wonder if it was a way of boosting the price, so that instead of getting 75 million, they're going to get about 100 million. And I think someone would pay 100 million at that price. I don't want it to be us. I'd rather us take in Monga. I'd rather us go get Rogers for around 70. Hincapi's going to have to be done for 55. I'd rather go looking elsewhere. I think if because for that price you could get Krupi, you could get even Vinicius by the looks of it, and also it's quite telling that they're trying to get Alvarez. I wonder who is on the outs over in Real Madrid. Is it Rodrigo? Is it Vinicius? Is it Mbappe? Is it Arda Güler? I do not know. And Arda Güler is someone who could come up today because we are going to be talking about the World Cup, and like I said, we're going to be doing our usual, not our usual, but this list. I think I'll start with winner and I'll work our way down. So winner, flop, dark horse, golden boot, breakout star, best under 23, over 32, random shout. My winner is a little bit left field because I don't know what the bookies have it as, but for me, I would say the favourites are Spain, if not France. And you do kind of look at that French lineup and you do kind of that attack particularly, but it just screams problem. And I heard that James Gunnerblog was in Chicago and he was speaking to some of the German journalists, and the way that the draw is, it does look like Germany will end up with France in somewhere, maybe the quarters. And their feeling is they feel it's kind of an empty, pointless task, this World Cup, because they know they're going to have to eventually lose to France in the quarters, which is a bit defeatist, obviously. But that's where they are in their kind of, I don't know what the word would be, really. They're not project, because it's internationals. You don't really get the old projects, do you? You know, it's more. They're not at the point in their generation that they think they could compete with the likes of France and maybe Spain, but particularly France is who's worrying them. And I understand that, but I mean, the point of the World Cup, I mean, if Ghana went there with that thought process, you know, why would they bother going? You know, these teams, so it's mad. Maybe that's just Germany being like, if we can't win it, we don't want to be there. But I don't know. I think everyone's got a chance. You know, you think of Greece in the Euros back in the day and things like that. And I just think it's something that they need to, you know, move past, because I think Germany, that squad, I don't think it's the best. There's a lot of conversation around Kai Havertz being their number 9 is a bit of a problem. It seems to follow him everywhere. That kind of, is he the right man? I think he is. I know that, you know, they had Fulkrug for a while. They all wanted him instead. Then Undav was someone who is around now. And Undav is the one that they're kind of saying maybe he should be there. I think he played for Brighton for a bit. I don't know what it is about Havertz, but he does leave a little bit for people to kind of go, is this our guy? But I actually think he's a very good football player, and I think they'll be surprised. And, you know, I think I've got him in my little shortlist for Golden Boot in a moment. But as for Germany, I don't think they're going to win it. France and Spain are my clear favourites. I'm not putting them as my winner because I'll get to that. But for me, I am going to go Portugal. And I know that's a little bit out of left field, and it's definitely I'd say that's a dark horse guess. I think so anyway. I there's a part of me that really wanted to say Brazil, because maybe the parallels to 1994 USA and Brazil winning it that year, the kind of resurgence of Brazil and kind of having Vinicius, Rafinha, Endrick. Did Thiago go? I think Thiago went. But Neymar's last dance. Obviously for Gabriel as an Arsenal fan, there's so many kind of players that are very. I'd say you if it wasn't England, for me, I think I'd like to see Brazil win it, and that's mainly just because of the reasons I just said. I think it just seems like I don't know. It feels right. It feels right, and also their kit this year is unbelievable. It's almost, dare I say, as good as the Germany kit. The Germany kit is unreal. But yeah, my pick is actually going to be Portugal. And when you look at it, I don't know who their starting 3 are going to be, but you'd think it's Yamal, Neto and Ronaldo. The midfield 3 is going to be Vitinha, Bruno Fernandes, and why is that completely escaped me? I want to say Ramos. It's not Ramos. What is going on there? It was Neves, is my head. Sorry. It was Neves. Mendes is in that team from PSG, as well as the Vitinha and Neves combination. But you've also got Diego Costa, the goalie. You've got, I think, João Felix is gone, I believe. Bernardo Silva's there still. Cancelo, Conceição, Ruben Diaz, Ruben Neves. There's so many good players that when you look at it on paper, you think, I don't know, that might be the best midfield in the competition, in my opinion, with Bruno Fernandes having the year he had on top of Vitinha and Neves. So when you look at that, I just think, my word, that you do well to beat them. I genuinely believe so. Like, that's a good team. Can't remember their exact group, but we'll go through like the groups later and kind of see in some of the other categories, maybe the Golden Boot, just to kind of see who could potentially kind of get a couple goals in, because all it takes is a hat trick in one game and you're probably going to win the Golden Boot, not because of the 3 goals, but it just gives you that such a boost. And some teams do have much easier groups, so I'm going to have to be kind of technical with that. So what I would love to say was Brazil to win. I'm going to go Portugal. I think the clear favourites are Spain and France. And this is me without mentioning England, but we'll get to that in a moment. So next up, we have a flop. I think this might be a general consensus. You could easily put Germany in there, because I think Germany, that name carries so much weight. That country is such a winning country in big tournaments, and it doesn't feel like this is going to be a year they're going to get any further than maybe the quarters, like their fans kind of feel. But I think they're more like to overachieve, because I think a lot of us think they're going out maybe at the quarters. So I couldn't put them as flop. For me, though, there is a general one that I saw Laura Kirk do a video where she actually had this team down as her dark horse. But for me, the flop has to be the Netherlands. For me, I don't think there's a team who are better suited, and this might be just a anti-Ronald Koeman situation, but for me, the Netherlands, they're always that team that kind of get to the quarters, aren't they? And we've expected that. And, when you think of Belgium in the past, in their glory years, the last kind of 10 years, they never got as far as they should have. Whereas the Netherlands, I feel like, weren't as good as that Belgium team ever in that period, but got to similar areas. But I just don't see them going any further. I cannot see it. And this is a team that in history have done very well in the past. I think when you look at their group, they've got Japan, Sweden and Tunisia. I think they'll beat Tunisia. Japan will be tough, but I think they'll do it. Sweden, this will be Gyökeres and Isaac led. I think they'll struggle with Sweden. I really do. I think Sweden look okay. I know they came through the playoffs, but I'm not overly sure. As far as their goalies, I don't know who's going to start, but I think it will be either Flecken or Verbruggen. But I think it'll be Verbruggen. The defence of probably Van Dijk, Ake, or Van Hecker, Van de Ven, Denzel Dumfries. I don't think that's the worst in any way. I think if you did Van de Ven, I know Spurs are trying to put that combination together of Van de Ven and Van Hecker, but I think it'll be Van Dijk and Van de Ven. And I think Ake might play fullback and Denzel Dumfries the other side. As for the midfield, Gravenberg, you would think is going to play. I think he'll be in there with De Jong and Reinders, if I had to guess. That's my feeling. I know that Quentin Timber's still there. Obviously, Jurien Timber, side note for the Arsenal fans, was removed from the squad this week because of a groin injury. And that means he played 75 minutes of that final with a very bad injury, enough to pull him out of the World Cup. So, one, kudos to him for playing. Two, is worrying because obviously Tuchel this week just mentioned Saka, saying he can't really do full training sessions and hasn't been able to since March. And this is all to do with the Achilles, and this is the Achilles that ended Henry's career when it did. Again, much later, and I don't expect Saka's career to end soon, touch wood obviously. But it's something he's going to have to pain manage and learn how much he trains, how much he plays. And we're going to have to kind of have a look at that next year, I think, because if he hasn't been able to train since March, he's going to now be in a World Cup, then straight back into the season, and we're going to expect him to play a lot of games. So something we need to keep an eye on. But Duran Timber is a big miss at right back. And then up front, these are their options, and it's probably going to be a front three, I'm going to guess. But you're going to look at Depay, Memphis, Gakpo, maybe Veghurst. I think Noah Lang, he's quite preferred. They do have some good players here, like Daniel Marlon, they got Cliver, they got Brobry, and they got Somerville. So when you actually look at the squad, I don't think that's the worst 11 in the tournament, especially even from maybe a big 8 country type. If we were looking at Portugal, France, Belgium, England, Brazil, Argentina. Oof. Top of my head, you maybe add the Netherlands there. If you're looking at those 8, I don't think that's 8th in the actual starting 11. But I just don't think it works. And again, this could be me being really biased. I think Ronald Koeman is awful. So this might be me more in a anti-Ronald Koeman than it is an anti-the Netherlands. But I just think now even saying that squad, that 11 should actually be very good. And that should make it far. And I just got them down in my head as the biggest flop. They'll make it out that group stage, I think, relatively fine. Don't know if they'll be top. But I just think they might go out almost instantly after that. But it depends on the draw. It really does. Because you can, the way it's set up and the amount of teams there are this year, there's a way in which you play a best of third place, and there's not many groups that do have a very good third place. So someone's going to squeak through, and if they do come top of this, they could be playing someone very, probably worse than maybe 3 of the 4 teams in their group. So, you'd expect them to get through that round, but time will tell. But for me, Netherlands, biggest flop. Dark horse. So, again, it is tough to pick, but I've got one in my brain that I think I'm going to go with it. Turkey is mine. I think I'm going to go Turkey. Side quest, maybe a joint, but I'm going to go Turkey, is Norway. And that's mainly because of the Haaland Odegaard effect, I'm going to be honest. I think it's very much that in my head. But I just think it's the first time we're going to get to see Haaland at World Cup, which is really fun, including and Odegaard, obviously. And I think I was just thinking them more of, not favourites, but they're kind of in that middle area. I don't think, I just mentioned kind of the big 8, quote unquote. I think I'd almost like put them closer to that than I would anywhere else, like Dark Horse. I think Dark Horse, you've got to be kind of thinking, oh, there's no chance they could win it. Whereas I think if Norway won it with Haaland and Odegaard, it'd be a shock. But it wouldn't be the shock of maybe Turkey or Japan and Morocco. Even Colombia look really good. I think Algeria are a decent team. But even Ecuador's defence could be a kind of in an Arsenal-esque way. Ecuador could defend their way to later in the knockouts, I think. But for me, I'm going to go Turkey. This could be Yildiz-based fanfare from me. I don't know. Arda Güler as well, obviously. But they got in the goal, I think they've got Ganok, or is it Badier, the Man United backup, I believe. Defender-wise, I must admit, I don't know too much. I think that former Leicester player, is it Soniuchu? I think he's in there. He might be getting on a bit now. Çalhanoğlu from Inter is in there. And then obviously Arda Güler, Yildiz up front. I think they could be up there as far as the best kind of I don't know, I'm going to say wingers, but Arda Güler's not really a winger, he's a 10, but I just feel like they could be the stars of the show a little bit, and because of that, and I really don't think Turkey have too much of a, I don't think they have a chance to win it really, but I just think they have a chance to go a lot further than what people realise. When you look at their group, they're in there with USA, Australia, Paraguay and themselves. Dare I say, a lot of that group is on par with each other. I think Turkey are going to win that. And because they're going to win that group, I think they could get a more favourable tie in the next couple rounds, which might lead them to a big boy in maybe the quarter semis kind of area. And I think if they make it to the quarters, I think I would feel like I picked right. I think anywhere quarters or higher, I think you have to kind of think, yeah, that's a dark horse that have done really well. Um, I'm very worried about USA. I'm not overly impressed with USA. Um, could they be the biggest flop if we're going back to the flop for a second, just because of the pressure that's probably on them right now, where they are? Pochettino managing at the helm. I don't know if that could be one of the biggest flops because I don't think they'll be very good. This is not the best USA squad we've seen, and they've actually overperformed a little bit in World Cups in the past, haven't they? I think in goal they've got Matt Turner, the former Arsenal keeper, I believe. I think he's at New England now, I believe. Defenders wise, off the top of my head, I think they've got Dest and Richards. I think Richards at Palace. Anthony Robinson played the other day, scored that absolute screamer. And I assume that would be Tim Ream, the former Fulham player, now at, I want to say, somewhere East Coast based in MLS. But, MLS, bare minimum is definitely MLS. Giovanni Reyna's there, and I only know that because this is a guy who comes up a lot for me in sports cards because his graded cards are absolutely everywhere, and he's at Mönchengladbach currently. He's a good player. Weston McKennie of Juventus as well. And I mean, that three there, if you just went with that, and obviously you've got Malik Tillman, but Rayner, Adams, and McKennie, it's not a bad midfield. I don't think it's a world beater, but I mean, it's not the worst. I think it's just when you get up front, it's not, for me, the most frightening. You got Balogun, former of Arsenal, obviously up front. You've got Pulisic, and you've probably got, I would have thought, Pepe from PSV, who I actually do really like that player. But him or Brendan Harrison from Leeds, who I do quite like. Harrison, again, not a bad 11. Don't think you could make many changes throughout a game that you think, yeah, this is going to be this is going to change it. I think there's Haji Wright as well. He's coming into the Premier League next year from Coventry, so it'd be nice to get eyes on him if he gets any minutes. But I don't know, that 11, that should win that group. When you put up against Turkey's, I think it's as good. I think you should win it, and I just think they could flop. And I don't want to say they won't come out of the top. I don't want to say they won't get out of that group, because I think they'll. The worst case scenario is come third with a win over Australia. That could somehow see them through. I don't think it will. 3 points. I think you'd need 4, but come third to get through. But I wonder, Paraguay and Turkey are going to be very difficult for that USA team. They didn't do too bad against Germany the other day, and they played a lot of their first team. But I'm not sure. But as for dark horse, getting back to the original kind of game and guess, I've gone dark horse Turkey. I'm happy with that. So far I've got the winner is going to be Portugal. The biggest flop is going to be Holland. The dark horse is Turkey, and that moves us on to Golden Boot. So Golden Boot, I'm going to look something up. World Cup groups. Because what you need, it's not necessarily how far you get in the competition, it's the level of your opponents, I think. So when you look at it, table, Group A, cool. There's certain players that come to mind: Lukaku, Haaland, Gyökeres, Ronaldo, Messi. I don't think necessarily either of them are going to be Golden Boot. Who knows? Rafinha, Mbappe, Elise. There's a lot of names that come to mind. But it also, even if they get far, the thing with France is they're going to spread those goals around, probably. Kane, I think, is a very good shout, to be honest. But when you look at the groups, in Group A, this is where we're going to kind of go through the groups in this Golden Boot moment, is Mexico, South Africa, South Korea, Czech Republic. I don't think any of them are going to win a Golden Boot. If I had to guess, I'd say Mexico and South Korea are actually going to go through there, in my opinion. The Group B is a doozy. It's Canada, Bosnia, Qatar, and Switzerland. Bosnia with Dzeko will be very interesting. Canada aren't a bad team, but again, similar to USA, I don't know. I do not know. Here's an interesting one: Morocco, Haiti, Scotland, and Brazil. So I think Brazil are going to smash that group. I think Morocco is going to be a very good game, but I wonder if Rafinha, someone could get a couple braces there. So Rafinha's like an early shout for me there, over the likes of Vinicius or Neymar. I think Rafinha is my kind of go-to there. USA, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. Don't think the top goal scorer is going to come from there, but again, top goal scorers can come from weird places. Germany, Curacao, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador. Germany, I've got Kai Havertz a little bit penciled in. So far I've got Rafinha and Kai Havertz. Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia. Gyökeres is coming to my mind, but I think that group's too difficult to keep scoring. And even though I think they'll go through, I think they might get a big boy straight away. So I'm not going to go there. New Zealand, Iran, Egypt, and Belgium. Lukaku could have a little bit of a field day there, couldn't he? He really could. I'll earmark him. Then we've got Group H, which is Spain, Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay. Uruguay would be a good game with Spain, but Spain have got a couple games there that they could really get ahead of it. So Yamal has to come to mind. France have got Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. Not the easiest group, similar to England's. I think Senegal and Norway are tough. I do think they'll beat Iraq. Senegal will be, I think, an awkward game, and Norway will be a bit of a shootout, I think. So in there you've got Elise, Mbappe, Haaland. Then Argentina have got Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. And again, I'm thinking Messi. Is he going to play every game? No, that's the question. I don't know if he can. I don't know if he's going to play every single 90 minutes. And if he does, I think, all the power to him, and I think he might. But I don't know. Portugal is my pick. They got Colombia, Uzbekistan, and the Congo. Again, Ronaldo, could he just pop up with a few goals there? And then England in Group L, the last group, they got Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. Again, Kane, I could see him getting crucial goals against Croatia and Ghana, and I could also see him getting 2 or 3 against Panama. He's so in form, as when you look at what he's done at Bayern Munich this year. I think I'm going to have to go with Harry Kane as the top goal scorer. And this might... I'm going to be controversial with a pick later on, but I'm going to go Harry Kane, Golden Boot. I think he might come away with 3 to 4 goals from the Group L. And I just don't know who else would beat that other than potentially Mbappe. Could easily get a couple hat-tricks against Iraq and Senegal. So I'm going to go, it's either Mbappe or Kane. Special shout out to Havertz. I think he might get a couple. I'm going to go Kane. I think I'll go Kane. I'm happy with that pick, I think. Breakout star of the tournament. I'm going to go Yildiz. I know there's a lot of conversation around Arsenal trying to look at him at the minute, but I just got a feeling, and the group isn't the easiest group for him to shine. I just think the world eyes are going to be on him because he's playing USA and it's in USA. I think there's going to be a lot of viewers to that. So a lot of the American audience, I think, might be introduced to Yildiz during that game. I think he could absolutely run riot in Australia. And I think Paraguay, I think it'll be a tough game, but I don't know. I think those games particularly, and Turkey going through top of that group, Yildiz is going to be the man, the guy that everyone's talking about. So kind of pairing it up with my dark horse, I'm going to go Yildiz as the kind of breakout star of that tournament. But because I'm going him breakout star, the best under 23 is going to have to go somewhere else. I can't do the double there. I don't think that's right. And my actual under 23 is the most uninspiring. You'll see. And again, I'm hedging my bets a little bit. It's going to be Yamal. I think Yamal is too good, and he's against it's Cape Verde, isn't it? Or is it Cabo Verde? It might be Cabo Verde. And Saudi Arabia, I think there is a very high chance he gets quite a few goals there. And if it's not goals, it's assists. It's just quality of play. He's just an unbelievable player. I don't think it's so hard in it with ages as well sometimes, because when you look at the French squad, I'm trying to think of teams that could go the distance here. Spain and France for my under 23. I think Doué is a special shout for France, as well as Bradley Barcola. I don't think you're going to see enough, but Cherky, who's 22, at at France, he could easily be the best under 23 because I think there's already so much conversation around, you know, the photo he took, all that kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but he's got something going on. In the league, we saw it with the keepy ups, with the bottle flips, with the taking selfies with the Arsenal players. He's a personality. If he's your personality, everyone's chuffed. If he's if you're against him, it's a nightmare. And I just think on the world stage, he's already popped up with a couple of weird pictures or weird moments he's done in training that have kind of gone viral. That he could just be the best under 23 player, not necessarily because he was, but because he was the most talked about. And I think that might be almost that little X factor that takes him above maybe Yamal and other people. But I just think with the world looking at Yamal, the world already love Yamal. They think he's the new Messi. I think it'll be Yamal. So Yamal's my pick, but Cherki is a good one, and Doué is another good one. Quickly, just on a side note as well, I'd love to look at the Brazil squad. Their options up front is what I want to know, because I think they've got Vinicius, Cunha, Neymar, Rafinha, Endrick, Martinelli, Igor Thiago, and Ryan. Wow. Ryan is I don't think he'll play enough, and I cannot believe this, but Endrick is still 19 years old. He almost feels like someone who could be a breakout star 3 years later than when he was supposed to break out or did break out. I just don't know if he'll play, because you'd think Rafinha and Vinicius are definitely playing. I just don't know who the other player is. Is it Igor Thiago? Is it Cunha playing as almost like a false nine? Is it Martinelli? I don't know. I really don't know that. But that attack is unbelievable. In the middle, they've got Danilo, Fabinho, Lucas Paqueta. And again, that is 2 Brazilian leagues and a Saudi league. Bruno Guimaraes, Casemiro, Ederson, who is now of Man United as well. Again, a little bit dicey. And then defence, they've got Marquinhos and Gabriel. Unbelievable centre-back pairing. Their goalie will probably be Alisson, if not Ederson. The fullbacks, they got Pereira, Flamengo. They got Santos, who's Zenit, who's now 32. There's some very aging fullbacks, which could be a problem for them. So I just kind of wanted to have a little look at Brazil's squad, because I do have a good feeling for them, but that kind of fullbacks and midfield worry me ever so slightly. As for other teams that could have a breakout player, because we're going to also do, my under 23 was Yamal, my over 32. People that come to mind, obviously Messi, Neymar, Dzeko, Ronaldo, Modric. Has Modric been picked? I think he has. He'll be against us. Let me just check the squads. Yeah, Modric is there. He's, oh my word, Luka Modric is 40, which is unbelievable. Kovacic of Man City, 32. I mean, the average age of their team, they're up front, they're going to have potentially a 37-year-old, a 34-year-old, and a 28-year-old. Their midfield could be a 40-year-old, a 32-year-old, and a 23-year-old, because I think Luka Sušić will play. And their defence, late 20s. Oof. Yeah, Croatia, I'm hoping, because I think the way England's group is set up is not actually optimal in any way, the order of games and things like that. So I don't actually think they'll have, their legs will go later in the tournament if they can get through the group, obviously. I'm thinking of Messi. Oh, it's so tough. I'm going through a few players here. England don't really have a player that fits the criteria, but Ronaldo for me, Messi. There's no one at France, I don't think. Spain, they haven't taken anyone overly old. Belgium, again, I think we're okay. Germany, Turkey, Paraguay. Oof, it is so tough. It is tough. I'm just having a look through the groups. Yeah, I'm going to go, because I think they're going to win it, I'm going to say Ronaldo. I think Messi had that World Cup 4 years ago. I think this is Ronaldo's year. I don't think you have, like Messi, I don't think they'll play every game, is amazing, isn't it? When you actually look at the last dance, like you got Dzeko, Neymar, Messi, Ronaldo, all playing their last ever World Cup. Dare I say, how old's Harry Kane? Is this his last World Cup potentially? You'd have to think it potentially is his last one. Harry Kane's 32. Yeah, he'll be 36 the next one. There's a small chance he plays. I just think very likely this is Harry Kane's last. And that's another one. If it's over 32, is that including 32? I'm going to not include 32 because Harry Kane would be another really good shout. I'm going to have to go Ronaldo. I think it has to be Ronaldo. Can I also double check Egypt? Is Salah in that squad? Because this would be his last World Cup, I believe. And he's 33. And what is their group? Belgium, Iran, New Zealand. Here's my side shout. I'm going to say Salah, the best over 32. At 33 years of age, I think they might lose to Belgium, but they'll beat Iran and New Zealand, and I think he'll score a couple in both. I think the best performing player over 32 will be Mohamed Salah. That is my guess. The next one is random shout. So I alluded earlier that I was going to have a slightly controversial pick. And I don't know whether to even say it out loud, but I think, because how many rounds are there? There's a round of 32, a round of 16. So I think England won't make it out of the round of 32. That is my random shout for the whole tournament. I've got a feeling we might not top our group. And I think we might end up hitting someone accidentally in the round of 32. And because of that, I think we might end up going out before the round of 16. Because I do think anything other than, for England, I genuinely think people will see anything other than a semi as a disappointment. So even if I said round of 16, they'll go out. But I think that's a fairly strong shout. But there's some really good teams floating about, and you can hit them if you just don't hit right, or if France take a couple games to get going and they come third. What if they end up popping into the round of 32 against the top team and knocking them out and then finding their feet then? That's my random shout. There's something telling me that England team could struggle. Obviously, I don't want them to. I want them to win it, finally. Would be lovely. But for me, them not making out the round of 32, I think would be a massive, dare I say, the UK would fall to its knees. I think the atmosphere in England would be horrendous if that happened. I think they really do like to lump the pressure on. I think that pressure's been quelled a little bit because, was it 2018? We made it to a quarter, I believe. Then 2020 was the final of the Euros. Then 2022 was quarterfinals against France. 24 was a final against Spain in the Euros, and then now. So pre that, we had only made one semi-final. That was in 96, since 66. So it was, and 90 obviously. But when you think of that, you just think, all of a sudden you hit a certain patch under Gareth Southgate where semi-finals were a regular occurrence because we were winning them. You know, we got to 2 different semi-finals and got to the finals. So we went to 2 finals, 2 quarterfinals. But the thing we haven't done in a very, very long time, because including 96, it's 1990, we haven't made it to a semi of a World Cup in a very long time. And that is where we need to be this year. I think if they can get to the semis, that would be a huge achievement, because if you look at the semis, my prediction isn't necessarily this, because I think my random shout was the England one. But if the semis were Brazil, England, Spain and France, I don't think anyone would be questioning that. You could interchange Brazil or with anyone really, and England potentially. But I think we all expect Spain and France to make it to at least the semis. If not, that is the final. But I haven't looked at, what's the word? I haven't looked at how it could shape up. So I was going to just quickly look at the groups and how it could work out. Bracket simulator. Can we do one of these? This is what I want to do. Oh, so you got brackets. Complete brackets. Rank 48 teams. Third place combination. Save in the group. Pick to win most on here is Spain. then just behind them France, then Portugal. Okay, so I'm just looking at this. Start your bracket. So rank your teams. Tap in first, second, and third, and fourth place. So Group A, we're going to go Mexico, Korea, Czech Republic, South Africa. We're going to go Switzerland, Bosnia, Canada, Qatar. We're going to go Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, Haiti. We're going to go Turkey, Paraguay, United States, Australia, Germany, Ivory Coast, Ecuador, Curacao, Netherlands, Sweden, Japan, Tunisia. We're going to go Belgium, Egypt, New Zealand, Iran, Spain, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, Cape Verde, France, Norway, Senegal, Iraq, and then we're going to go Argentina, Austria, Algeria, Jordan, Portugal, Colombia, Uzbekistan, Congo, England, Croatia, Ghana, Panama. These best, you have to pick the best third place. So I'm going to go Senegal, Ecuador, Canada, Czech Republic, Japan, Algeria, Scotland, and Ghana. So that would make it Germany versus Scotland. So Germany, France, Japan, France, South Korea versus Bosnia. I'm going to go South Korea. Morocco, Netherlands. I'm going to go Netherlands there. Brazil, Sweden's a good game. Ivory Coast. I'm going to go Brazil. Ivory Coast, Norway. I'm going to go Norway. We're going to go Mexico versus Ecuador. Ecuador, England, Senegal. I'm going to go England. Colombia, Croatia. I'm going to go Colombia there. Spain to beat Austria. Turkey to beat Canada. Belgium to beat Czech Republic. Argentina to beat Uruguay. Paraguay to lose to Egypt. Switzerland to beat Algeria. Portugal to beat Ghana. Then that would put us in the round of 16. We've got Germany, France. This is what the German fans were worried about. So we're going to go France. Korea, Netherlands. I'm going to go Netherlands. I know this is against kind of some of the stuff I said. Brazil to beat Norway. England to beat Ecuador. We've got Spain to beat Colombia. Belgium, Turkey. I'm actually going to go Turkey. Ooh. Argentina to beat Egypt. Portugal to beat Switzerland. So the quarterfinals: France, Netherlands, France, Spain, Turkey, Spain, Brazil, England. I'm going to go Brazil. Argentina, Portugal. I'm going to go Portugal. That'd be Messi and Ronaldo. France, Spain in the semis against Portugal or Brazil. I'm going to go... I'm actually going to go France. And I'm going to go Portugal. And then the third place finish of Spain and Brazil. Spain. And then the winner between France and Portugal. I'm going to go Portugal. And that's it. That is the brackets. That is my road to the final. I think that's a lot of fun as well. Just feel free to do that. Just if you Google predictor or brackets or whatever it is, you can do that yourself. That's quite a little bit of fun. That's a fun little exercise. And you can kind of see it. And I think if you look at that, England did really well up until we hit Brazil. And I think Brazil and then potential Portugal in the semis would have been... I think we'd take that. I think it was it Senegal? Someone, I can't remember who it was, and then Brazil, then Portugal. I think we'd take that route to the final. It's not the easiest, but I don't think it's the hardest. So hopefully we can do everything I just said as far as England are concerned. But as far as everyone else is concerned, I think it's an open World Cup. I think it's going to be really fun. Like I said, it's a mixture of who's the new big breakout player and who's also the legend that will never play probably in a World Cup again. And I'm looking at, it's so mad to think, but Kane, Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, Dzeko, Salah, all of them will never play in a World Cup again. I had Dzeko in there. I don't think he's necessarily in that group of players that I just mentioned, but he is much older, and he's also just got to the World Cup for Bosnia, and it's a really good achievement in the way they got there through Italy and Wales and all these teams. So shout out to them. But it's going to be so interesting to watch. It starts tomorrow. England have got a friendly tonight against Costa Rica. I'm interested to see what team comes out. I'm interested to see if the intensity is any better. And shout out to Lewis, Elton Prince of WWE, who usually does come on this podcast for the West Ham episodes, and he is going to come on for the World Cup. I think he might be going to game tonight, so if he is, try and get a word on that. But other than that, just enjoy the World Cup. Try and do your predictions on the brackets, and also do the predictions of the ones I did on the episode today, which was the winners, flop, dark horse, golden boot, breakout star, under 23, over 32, random shout. And my random shout was indeed England to not make the round of 32. Over 32 was Salah. Under 23 was Yamal. Breakout star was Yildiz. Golden boot was Kane. Dark horse, Turkey. Flop, Holland. Winner, Portugal. That was mine. Let me know what yours are, and follow us on TBA Wrestling on every piece of social media, including Gunners R Us on TikTok. Until next time, I will see you on Monday, when so much could happen in the World Cup and breakout stars could already start forming, and older players might already start breaking down, but who knows. And I'll be back on Monday. I'll be on Patreon at the end of the week as well. If you want to jump on that, click that link below, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.